In this, I'm going to teach you how to deal with your clients when they're angry at you. And as an added bonus, the secret special superpower that actually emerges as you develop this skill, not only with your clients, but in all your relationships. One of the greatest gifts that you can give to anyone in your life, but especially your clients, is the willingness to stay with them, regardless of what emotion they are experiencing, especially when it's directed at you. I see people struggle with this in both extremes. So when their clients are loving them, ecstatic about them, it's often hard for people to receive that. It's hard to really be present and let someone else tell you how much they appreciate you, how much they've learned from you, how grateful they are, and stay with them. When I say stay with them, I mean physically, energetically, attention-wise, like that you are really with them. On the other extreme is anger, negative emotion. And that tends to scare people all the way out of the room. So again, one of the greatest gifts you can give to people is your willingness to stay present when they are expressing to you their difficult feelings about you or your behavior or your choices or your actions. I'm not saying have no boundaries. I'm not saying let people attack you. That's a different thing. But when someone is coming to you saying, listen, I feel hurt, I feel disappointed, I feel like you dropped me, I feel like you didn't deliver, I feel like I want to tell you my critical feedback because I'm not happy with what's happened here. Your ability to stay present and listen without running out of the room on any level is literally the greatest gift you can give. Partly because it's so important in those moments, but I think even more because we live in a culture where that almost never happens. So we as a culture have trained ourselves not to express our difficult feelings because no one will stick around to hear them. No one will stick around to receive us in those states. So we're all like tied up in knots in these various different codependencies, mostly because we have been taught that we can't express ourselves truly, no matter what, without punishment, without consequence. So your willingness to stay still and make a different choice in that moment is literally revolutionary. It's one of the most healing things that you can do for someone else. The reason that it's important to anticipate and prepare yourself for all of the people in your life being angry with you is because whether you realize it or not, you are participating in the same culture everybody else is in, and you are subtly training people not to tell you the truth if it will make you uncomfortable. Even if you want to be the kind of person who stays still and is receptive and generous with someone who's got some negative feedback for you or who's angry with you, if you aren't actively preparing yourself for that, you will unconsciously and subconsciously make sure it doesn't happen. And so it's really important actually to do this internal work. Now, there's another actually even potentially more compelling benefit of this work, which is that when you get truly free about how people think and feel about you, that is you transforming your codependency into freedom. That's the definition of it. And the more you do that, the freer you will be. And the freer you are, the more freedom you can hold for someone else. It's like the more freedom you have determines the opening that you can hold for someone else to walk through. There's so many ways to approach healing and transforming codependency, but this might be the fastest, is to expect your people to get pissed at you and get excited about it, to expect the people you love, the people you serve, the people you want to collaborate with, to get angry and tell you about it, to get angry with you and tell you about it, and to do the work to prepare yourself so that when that happens, you are just as open, receptive, excited as you would be about hearing about their best day, right? Like that, or their highest praise. Really, the truth of why I'm so passionate about sales as a spiritual practice in particular is because it's like sales almost before you even start, piss people off. You know, it's a way of going straight to the heart of this conflict that we tend to avoid. And so that's not the primary reason to do sales as a business owner, but it is one of the most compelling reasons I think there is to do sales as a spiritual practice, because there's no way to engage in that practice and not truly welcome the full range of another human's experience. It's an important mirror to ask yourself, when was the last time someone told you that they were angry with you? When was the last time that someone told you that they were disappointed in your choices or your behavior? I don't mean that as a judgment, right? That's a different thing. When people are coming after you to judge your life, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when you're in relationship with someone and they're genuinely hurting because of their reaction to something that you did or chose. In that moment, can you stay present? If you haven't had an experience like that, I guarantee you have this codependency. And don't make that wrong. You're in good company. There's almost everybody is like that. And use that as a moment to wake up. If you feel like actually people express their anger to you relatively easily, then the opportunity, I think, is to ask with specific relationships. When was the last time your partner told you, I'm not happy with the way that you treated me just then? When was the last time that you openly had a conversation where you welcomed your child's frustration or your client's anger with your ... That's how you go deeper, is just look at, okay, like who do I not want to hear from? Who do I not want to hear from? This is not, by the way, only your material, of course, because the truth is that for the other person, expressing anger can be terrifying, especially if they value the relationship. Expressing the anger can be the most frightening thing they can choose. And so with some relationships, you might actually have to work to help someone express their anger. One of the things that I've noticed in my business is that I try to hold a very high standard of excellence, to communicate thoroughly on every level, right? As a coach, but even down to just like scheduling conversations with clients. I want everything to just be squeaky clean, pristine, beautiful, exquisite. And when it's not, sometimes I'm lucky and it pisses someone off. And I say that because one of the challenges of having such a put together business where I do things really, really exquisitely most of the time is that I don't always give my clients an easy reason to be pissed at me. So I can't say that I go out and try to make mistakes, but when the mistakes happen, I celebrate them, because I know, especially if a client gets pissed, there's a healing portal opening for them, because I know that I can hold space for their anger, and they may never have felt that before. I would even go so far to say that I think that when mistakes happen in my business, it's so that can happen. I believe it's God's grace to make me far less than perfect, so that my clients can have the experience of blaming me, being mad at me, being disappointed in me, whatever difficult feeling they struggle to express, so that they can have that feeling and have it with me. The first time that I experienced this as a client, I don't even know if I have words for it. It was jaw-dropping. Like my whole body changed, because I had been keeping this particular feeling tight-locked, wrapped up for decades with everyone. And suddenly someone was like, no, come on, you can be mad at me. Go ahead, tell me all about it. Oh, you're right. And this was the thing that blew my mind. This came from my training at the Center for Group Studies in New York City. They would tell me I was right. They wouldn't just like welcome the feeling. They were like, oh, that's the right feeling to be having. You're right. I didn't do that well. You should be angry. That makes sense. No defense, no protection, no armor from them at all. It was like, wait, what do I do now? Well, I've no framework for this interaction. And all this fight, it was like, that's the other thing, is that when we can't express our anger, we build up our righteousness, we build up our resentment, we build up all these other things. And so if even just a little hole opens up, we just blast someone, some complete stranger that we don't feel so at risk to lose the relationship. When I first experienced, and I still experience this, when someone holds space for me to be mad and not defend themselves, I don't have to fight so hard. I don't have to be so angry. It's an enormous relief. It's an enormous relief. I think at the heart of this, at least in my childhood, I don't think I saw anger not end relationships. In my childhood, anger meant the end. There was no coming back. And everybody's childhood is different, but I think that that's a pretty big theme. It's very rare that we've seen anger held and healed. This is our challenge and our opportunity as healers, as coaches, as spiritual teachers. This is what we're here to do. And if you are in any way on the inside, avoiding it, protecting yourself from it, hoping it won't happen, you can't do this particular work in the world. And it's so, so, so important. So, 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 so important to do.
Everything you want is already